Yeah. Welcome to Agents of Change, where strategy meets intelligence. I'm Chris Cade, joined by Chace, and today we're diving into the future of enterprise AI with a leader who's not just talking about agentic AI, he's deploying it at scale. Our guest is Philip Yu, COO, CIO, and CDO at AXA China. AXA operates in over 50 countries and serves over 95 million clients and employs around 154,000 people. Their mission is to protect people, property, and assets through a wide range of financial services. Under Philip's leadership, AXA has launched over 38 AI agents with over 100 more in development, and we're going to explore how he's aligning AI with business strategy, securing agent ecosystems, and transforming the workplace. So Philip, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a while, and I know with our schedules, it's been very difficult. Philip's actually in Shanghai, where it's 8 o'clock in the morning Friday, while it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here on Thursday. So thank you, Philip, and I'm super excited to have you. And I'm going to start off some questions a little bit here. So Philip, you seem to be my impression is that you're a few years ahead of the West in deploying agentic systems at scale. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you were starting all over again? And what lessons should the Western enterprises take to avoid the same pitfalls?
Yes, thanks, Chris, to invite me and allow me to join here. I think this is, I won't say we are ahead. It's just that in China, we have the environment, not only in the company, but in the whole culture here, which everyone is doing something a little bit small steps. I think back to your question about what we learned and what we will do and we should do, even if we are doing again, I think is the only one word is to start. Just start doing something, because I think we have been doing quite some POC, but most important is we failed a lot of the POC. We failed many of them. But the key is not about failing, it's about starting. So once you start something, during your failure, then you will find out actually you should do this way or that way, or you shouldn't do this way or that way. I think this is the whole learning curve we have. And also when we talk about starting doing something, just start very small. A couple months ago when I visited Paris in our headquarters, and everyone is talking about agentic, and even Chris, you just mentioned about agentic AI.
Yeah.
And it's funny that at that time, I need to search from the dictionary, from Google's, about what is agentic AI. We don't know. We do not know what is agentic. Maybe it's language. But what I find out is, instead of starting with agentic, which is talking about how how agents are communicating or interacting with each other, we start with something which is not interacting with each other. We start with agents. We start with individuals, small process, which can only help a little bit of our existing process to be a little bit more automated or more effective. I think this is what I learned.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're doing as well. Like we one of the slogans we say to our customers is, let's not try to cure malaria. Let's just do something real simple. And some of the use cases are, not something you're going to see on the front page of tech magazines, but it's going to really make the difference in some of the employees' lives. So speaking of which, I mean, you've got 3 roles there, and so you must be following a strategic framework, because even starting small, when you start getting to 30, 40 of these tools in place for your staff and 100 more in development, there's got to be a lot of change on how the organization approaches everything. So what strategic framework has helped you scale by implementing these agents across such a large enterprise?
Yes, I think the first thing is about you mentioned about my role, and I think this is my lucky part, because I'm handling both IT, operations, data, and which you can imagine for IT and data is more on the technology side. For operation, it's a little bit touching on the business, their day-to-day operations. So, which is the lucky part, because that means you can more or less do anything, or if I may. But one thing is, because when we are doing our AI agents, it's mostly starting from this year. When I say this year, starting from the January of 2025, it seems to be quite short period of time, but that's true. That's the reality. is only because when DeepSeek start to announce. Before that, we didn't do too much on AI.
Right.
The one key factor is because of security, which we can touch on
Yeah.
that later on.
Yes.
But before that, in the past 6, 7, or even 8 years, we have been doing a lot on digitalizations, automations, modularizations, all these kind of things, which is the preparations of how we can achieve or how we can start on the AI part. But also more important is how we can get the confidence from the management and also from the business user. So they know that what our team is doing is really helping them, is really improving their day-to-day operations. And more or less, when we are starting to do something on the AI, they don't care. They don't ask about whether you are using AI or not AI. Right. They are more talking about what they need. They want it faster. They want to do something which cannot be done in the past. How can you do it? You think about it. You are the IT. You are the data. You just give us the solution. So I think this is the way. And of course, when talking about the strategies with the management, the DeepSeek also help a lot because it is open source. It is very low cost to start with. I'm not saying that it is low cost to continue to manage. Yeah. It's quite expensive, but to start with, it's low cost. So management, when you are not asking for too much money, you can do more or less anything.
Right. And I have seen that, Phil, and that's a good point because the most successful strategy is CEO down. CEO needs to realize, and I want to ask you a question where I see businesses going, if you agree with me, but CEOs need to be top down, but the business users need to be supportive and saying, hey, this is making my life more easy to accomplish the goals, and I can focus on the things I want to focus on. So following that, you needed to get your executive leadership team to support this. And I think what you just said was by just doing little bits of investments. And then did you take these, what were they? They were proof of concepts, prototypes, and then you brought them and showed them to your CEO, and then he was like, wow, that's amazing. How did that go?
That's another part of the lucky things I have experienced. I think late last year, there was something happening in our business user. And which is related to the quotations process we are doing. Of course, we have the system, but the system, it was quite advanced 3 years, 5 years ago. Okay. But as I mentioned, late last year, our business users, they find out that in the market in China, there are something even more advanced. It's not necessarily AI, but just that they find out someone is doing something even faster. And our partners, our brokers, our agents, they are leaving us because of that. So I think that drives the business needs. Instead of saying we want to do an AI strategy, it drives the business needs that they push us to find the solutions. They don't care about, as I said, what solutions. So we come up with either traditional way of enhance our system, upgrade it, or use a totally different way, which is AI. And that starts the whole story.
Gotcha. We're in the build right now, and our customer, the CIO there, has a really good data strategy. Their data is really solid. That's made it a lot easier for us. Did you guys, and I think what you just said was that you guys went through that, that upgrade enhancement of your network. So you had a really good data structure in place before January of this year when you started looking at Agentic, or?
Yes, I think you point out the very, if the only key point we need to focus is the data for AI, for me, I would say. Yes, to answer your question, yes. In the past 6 or 8 years, we have been gone through the whole journey. It's not because we know about AI, it's just that we did that. Digitalizations, and one thing is the data consolidations. We make sure we don't have the silos on the business. All the data, they are consolidated in the big data lake. And our BI environment. And because of that, when we talk about AI, we are talking about asking the machine or the robot to answer whatever we ask, which means that you cannot silo your data and saying that I only know this, but I don't know that. Right. If that happens, the AI is not that intelligent and the user is not liking this kind of AI. So the data consolidations is the very key starting point or factors which can please our customers, saying that AI is really a good stuff, or even our management.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do see most of the clients we're talking about with silos of data and really no structure. The one that we're building now, as I said, he already did that work and it was just right timing when he said, let's look at a proof of concept. Before I ask you some questions around security, I see the future. I think, we talk about technology transformation, rolling out a huge ERP or something, but I see this different than that. I see this maybe two silos of business. So AXA would have their products and services, but then they have an AI factory to deliver and run those AI factories. Do you see a complete business evolution coming up I've been in IT since the early 90s and .com and internet and cloud. I don't see anything like this, and I see it more of a business transformation rather than just an IT transformational rollout of a tool. Do you see that also transforming with AXA?
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, with the AI, as you mentioned about in the past 10 or even 20, 30 years, there's a lot of new technology, cloud, I mean, distributed, agile, many things happening. But I won't say AI is the same as all the past things. AI is even bigger, and the impact is even bigger. And the transformation on the not only on the business, but also on the people behavior, on how you
Yeah,
use the computer. Everything is changing. But
yeah,
one thing is just like what we have been doing in the past 10 to 15 years, we also experienced to transform from the legacy approach or platform or architectures to our cloud environments, distributed environment. But one thing I still remember last year when we have meetings with our Hong Kong management, our business user try to mention about what they experienced in the past 10 years in China is they didn't realize there's a transformation. They didn't realize there's a cloud. They didn't realize there's a distributed environment. They just realized there's something changed. It's faster, it's easier. Previously, when they do something in months, now it's talking about minutes or even seconds.
right,
Oh, yes, that reminds them. I think this is the transformation. Instead of saying that, oh, I want you to change your daily practice, and I tell you what you are going to change, which surprise you, makes you worry. What we have been doing is doing something which at the end or after certain years, they realize, oh, we changed. We have been changing something. So I think this is what we are seeing. For that, for sure, the AI will impact hugely on everyone's daily operations. But
right.
that may happen. You may only realize when it really happens.
Right. Gotcha. Well, going back to what we talked about earlier around security, well, security is a big part of it. I mean, I'm talking to CISOs now, and they're concerned, and I'm part of some mastermind groups around the world, which your sister Susan's involved in. And part of being in the mastermind groups, they're like, "Hey, check out this tool. Look at this tool." I can't put that into my customer's enterprise. You're just opening up security breaches. So how do you guys approach security and compliance when especially when integrating possible third party agents, or are they all built? And I understand you've got your own development team internally rather than outsourcing that, but how do you approach security when you're dealing with this? It's a big challenge where people don't even know where to start.
Yes, yes. This is the biggest challenge, I would say. As I mentioned earlier, we didn't do anything, or I mean, not too much on AI before this year. We only do it. I can even give the exact date is we start our AI journey on the 23rd of January this year.
Wow.
The
Wow.
reason is because on the 20th of January, DeepSeek announced. So we
Yeah.
spent 3 days to install, to set up our
Oh,
DeepSeek in our own premises. So that was exact the date. And that was also the reason why we didn't do AI in the past is because AXA, I mean this kind of enterprise company,
yeah.
security, if we're talking about very important, enterprise company is even more sensitive and important.
Yeah.
They don't allow you to do anything without group security approval.
Right.
And but since we have the own premises environment, and I remember 3, 4 months ago when the group management came to China to understand what we did, and we talked about introduce this environment, they said, okay, that means you are not connecting to the internet. You are not connecting to outside. Your data is not sending to anyone to help you to do anything. I said, no, then That means our environment is even more secure than the so-called group secured AI environment, because their environment is bounding by a policy which you sign with the company, with another AI company, saying that they won't release your data or they won't reuse your data. But this is only an agreement. What we are doing is we are not doing any agreement with anyone. We are just protect ourselves within our own premises. So I think this is the starting point to make the confidence to management and also the enterprise that we are safe, we are not going to ruin anything. Of course, from then onward, we need to have external agents, connections, we need to partner with outside. But the starting point is always the most important part. You need to start something to gain the confidence, then you can do further. And just one last point about to connect with external agents. What we are now doing, we also do some external agents partnership, but it's more for our training. So we are not sending production or sensitive data to any external agents. We are asking external agents to help us to train our model, but once it's trained, it is still put back into our own premises with our encrypted and secured environment, disconnected environment, to run it for our internal user.
That's fantastic. I'm, SaaSberry builds in the Microsoft stack. I'm ex-Microsoft, and I left Microsoft and started this. So very familiar with Microsoft. Not familiar with the platforms and technologies. 85% of the enterprises out here are in the Microsoft ecosystem. So it makes it easy for us to do that. And one of the quotes that's resonated me from my CTO is what you said is, hey, instead of going to the AI, bring the models to you. Bring the models down to the data level so that it's not going to the public cloud. It's not going out there. And that's what he consistently says to people when they say, I can't do AI. Because we've literally had VP of security or CISO say, we can't do AI. We have too much sensitive data. And my CTO, Steve, is always saying, no, we'll bring the AI down to you so it's not outside. And that enables us to do that in the Microsoft stack. So did you implement some governance models to orchestrate agents while addressing security? Do you have a compliance division that just works with you guys to just make sure all of those things are handled?
Yes. We start with our agent developments without any governance. That has to be very honest. But after a couple of months, we start to build our AI steering committee, AI governance models, and we also invite our head of the risk, our legal head, as well as our CEO and myself into these governance models as a basic foundation structures. For anything we are going to build or even for testing, this is the organizations to start with to make sure that not only on whether there's any benefit to the business, but first is whether there's any risk, whether there's any legal concern before we start to do anything. So this is the model we are now trying to do. You mentioned about the orchestrations. As I mentioned, now we are still on individuals agents, but we start with some orchestrations concern because we have come across some production issues which we upload the wrong models into the productions and the model is mixing it with each other. So I would say orchestration will become more and more important as well.
Yeah, I'm interested, and that might be a whole nother discussion. But I'm always thinking ahead, and I'm thinking, okay, some of our customers we're now onto their second or third agent, but most of them are under 5. How are they gonna manage this, and how can I bring some value to helping them when they do have 50, 100 of these? Because I'm just seeing that not only do you have to make sure that they're not getting confused when the agents know what the other ones are doing, but also making sure that their KPIs and degradation isn't happening, that you can always keep the tuning up so that they're still delivering what they originally delivered when you first launched them. So I see, have you already started thinking about how that's going to look? Because I have listened to podcasts and some of the world tech leaders, and they're talking about enterprises having tens of thousands of agentic tools in enterprises. And I just like the management and making sure they're all working together and making sure this agent can't see that information because that is private, and how all of that is going to. Have you guys already started looking at that? Is it something that you're looking at external vendors to bring tools in, or are you guys building that type of technology yourself? Or
Yeah, yeah. So I think you point out two different parts of when you have multiple agents, the conversations or interaction between the agents, this is the very complicated, and you can imagine the complications between. But before that, I would say even if you only have one agent, within one agent, you can have many, many models or upgraded versions of the models, which is talking about daily. Every day you can train something new. Because nowadays you can see from outside the models is upgrading every day, and also internally you will just keep changing it. How to manage those one single agents, their versions is already very complicated. Not to mention about multiple. So I think what we experience is we already can see within one agent the complication or the confusion can already cause you major production issues. The
Right.
whole agent just collapsed. No one can use it because you upload a history or old version of the models, which you didn't realize. And then you don't know which one is the latest one. So this
Yeah.
kind of confused. And then is to the second part, which is the agents with agents talking. Um, to your point, we are trying to look at from the market what kind of tools they available in the market, but mostly we self-develop. We are using from external and then self-develop something for our own. And also, uh, just like what I mentioned at the very beginning, we start from small. We don't build a very enterprise kind of this kind of platform
Right.
or protocol to facilitate something which we don't have at this moment. We only do something which we have and then see how we can solve that particular problems. Maybe a little bit ahead, but not the huge one. This is
Wow.
always the way we handle.
Okay, so what you're saying, Phil, to me, obviously you're much more knowledgeable in this place than me, but really focus on how to just dial into the management of one agent first. And then once you understand all the changes and all the reiterations that happen to that, and you really learn how to manage one, then you can start learning how do we manage multiple and stuff like start small on that orchestration management as well. That's a
Yes, yes.
that's that is brilliant, and maybe something where I'll say that was super easy, but right now, unless you've experienced it, you don't see some of these things that could come across as an easy task to get through. So to just go back to what you said, start small, do little proof of concepts, prototypes, nothing big, and then really learn how, if that's going to be rolled out to the production, how do you just manage that so it's always giving the level of KPIs that we were first told the business they were going to get. Then you can look at other small ones and more of them, and then management of multiple agents. That's great. Question going into your employees, like around workforce enablement training. How did you prepare legacy teams to work alongside autonomous agents? I'm assuming you have autonomous agents out there. It must have been challenging because I know with me, a traditional sales business guy, even rolling out a new CRM, I didn't want to adopt that. They put out a new expense tracker. I didn't want to use that. I like my old Excel. So how do you prepare legacy teams to work alongside these agents that you're doing?
I think maybe this is another lucky part because in China, I think nowadays is I would say the user, even the legacy user, which I will come back to the legacy this term in China. What is the definitions? But even the legacy, so-called the legacy user, they push the technology people faster than the technology people push ourselves
Oh,
on AI.
wow. Oh,
Because
interesting.
when people in China, when they go out, they are using the WeChat Pay, they are using AIs to
Yeah.
find their restaurants, they are
Oh,
using the
yeah.
AI to talk about where should I go in the holidays. I mean, they are more AI than us. So we have to
Oh,
catch up to build AI. Otherwise, they will build by themselves. Because now they
yeah.
building an AI now is not that technology
Yeah.
driven. They
Right.
can go out
Right.
and ask for Baidu or whatever to give them a little bit of modules to help them. So we have to catch up a little bit more. And also when I talk about the legacy, because in here in China, of course, bank maybe they're still using something like the 400 for AS400, that kind of things. But majority of the company here, they don't have too much legacy. I mean, China only started in the last 10, 20, 30 years, and the legacy is not that huge. So I think this may be the lucky part we have, or the
Yeah,
unlucky part, because we have to catch up instead of they are catching up to us.
yeah, that is because I've even listened or talked with people that said, I got 4 years to retirement. I don't need to learn this stuff. Whereas what you're
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah,
is
yeah,
the people of China are already used to technology. Even the older employees have adopted
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's so me asking you how to balance technical upskilling, it's almost like it's almost hard for you to do that, right? Or
Yeah.
are you constantly training your staff on the new tools as well on that you're launching out?
Okay, that's another good point. I think when I mentioned about start small, we should start small and then catch up a little bit one step ahead, one at a time. Um, is the scale is not talking about by months. When we are talking about start small and then catching up, it's by days. Things happening here is by days, maybe weeks, but not months, definitely not years. So when I talk about training, we may not have the luxuries to allow people to go out to train for 3 months or 2 weeks or something. But everyone is going out to do attend some seminars, and they have small group within the insurance company or banking finance industry, or even with Tencent or Huawei or Alibaba. They always have some seminars. During the seminar, and also recently, he's talking about TikTok. TikTok company is another very hot company here in China as well. And the people inside, they have a lot of experience, which is something like we never touch on. So we talk
Right.
with them and we share with each other and very openly because everyone knows that even they give you all the source code, you cannot catch up with them because they have more people, they have more time, more money. So the only thing you can gain from them is just you know it, but then you can do whatever you like because they are still ahead of you. So
Mm,
this kind of training, another way of doing training is how the atmosphere here in China, everyone is just learning from each other. Technology people, I mean, sharing what they are experiencing, failure, successful,
mm.
and then the other side, whether you learn it or not, is up to you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's something, I mean, we've done, people transformation workshops. It kind of helps them with don't be nervous to say you don't know where to begin. Let's just start with GBT or as you guys use DeepSeek, right? And we're big Copilot users out here, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like let's just start using that instead of Google searching, just start searching in a Copilot environment and start asking those questions.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to add one more point. When we talk about training, always there's a teacher and a students. But when we talk about AI, who can be the teacher? Because
Yeah,
everyone start at the same point.
yeah,
So I can be your teacher, but you can also be my teacher.
yeah.
So it's sharing. It's not a teacher and student approach.
Yeah, I talked to a CFO of a huge bank, and they've been doing hackathons to even help, which segues into my next question is, how's AXA using, how are you prioritizing agent use cases? How are you getting ideas, right? Like when I walk in and there's no agents, okay, there's 10 right off the top of the head, but once you start getting into the amount you've got, what keeps that role going for someone? And I know I always say, do you do 5 things, the same things, repetitive every day of the week? Let's look at that. But how are you prioritizing? How are you coming up with these ideas now?
First, always business first. So
Business.
as I mentioned, our first AI agents start from the business because they need it. If we don't do it, we lost our partners. So I mean, no one will say no to that. So
Yes.
business first. If business is not able to give you any ideas, then the second thing we always doing is how to do a agents which can help to gain the efficiency. When I say gain the efficiency, one thing we always remind ourselves is we try not to do anything which is talking about to save resources, to replace our resources, because this becomes very sensitive. When you do something which is going to kill your job, no one will support you.
Right.
No one will give you contribute the ideas with you. So we try not to say anything which is going to replace our resources or replace the role,
Yeah.
but to do something which cannot be done in the past. In the past, you can only do even your overtime, you can only do 10 steps, but now we can do 100 steps. Yeah, yeah, that's something we can help
Uh,
you. You can still do your 10 steps.
Yeah, I love the way you said save their jobs, save their roles. I've been saying that I'm not replacing, I'm not coming in to replace jobs. I'm here to
Yeah,
augment your staff to be better.
yeah,
And so now
yeah.
instead of staying in the office late on a Friday night because of these tools you're enabling your staff, maybe they can get home to have dinner with their family instead of staying in the office late. So that would totally encourage someone like myself and probably Chace here to adopt and support your agent use. Do you do any type of use case hackathons? Do you reward people from coming up with ideas at all, or?
Ah, that's good thing. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we have a AI open day in the company. I mean, in China, we create an open day. One thing we introduced to the whole company, everyone, secretary, receptions,
Yeah,
whoever,
yeah,
is if anyone has any good idea to propose to submit to us, and of course, the management's business or the operations, we try to scale it. If any good idea, we'll give a very good gift. Because AXA is a Liverpool sponsor, so we give a Liverpool T-shirt or something like that
nice.
to that. And it is serious. It's not saying that we just will give away. It can be no one can get the T-shirt because it's something. If the ideas really can contribute to becomes a project, and the management say, yeah, this is a good idea, let's do it. Then that is the winner. And surprise us, we receive from everywhere, from very junior staff, anyone. They propose altogether, I think, 70 something ideas. And when
In
I
the
say
one day.
idea, is actually it's within 3 days or 4 days,
Oh,
within one
okay,
week,
gotcha.
within 1 week. And
Awesome.
when I say idea, it's not one single line. The idea is really a 1 page or 2 pages ideas. And not only about some new great ideas, but some ideas is really exactly what we are doing in the management. So we are doing some projects, which for sure they don't know we are doing that projects.
Yeah.
But we find out that our general staff, because they are working so close to the front end, they know something which surprise us, and their idea is really great. And this is another atmosphere we try to create. And this idea collection is not only for that 1 week, but because we have to give the kind of announcement, but we are saying that until the end of the year, if anyone can provide any ideas, we will try to find the T-shirt and give them.
That's awesome. I love that. I'd be wearing that t-shirt to the office every day. So that's
I just
a
got
real,
one.
yeah, did you just go and good for you? That's awesome.
I
Um,
steal one.
we've got hockey out here, Philip. So we're the Vancouver Canucks here in Vancouver, right? And but
Yeah.
this has been amazing. So so you've got a good plan on use cases. It seems like you got a lot of them, and you prioritize business first, right? Making sure your partners are staying with you and not going to your competitor. Then you look at what bottom line or top line. Like, how do you make the internal? Is bottom line more, or it doesn't even matter? It's just more of what you think that the team would the business would benefit for more.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter about that. I mean, it's general, overall, and top down. But one thing I think I mentioned earlier is open source is allowed you to start small and
Yeah,
start cheap,
yeah,
but to really maintain to scale the AI is still expensive,
yeah.
even with DeepSeek, even if with DeepSeek. So that's the challenge.
Good point. Good point. I've had people say that I can do it for nothing over here. When you roll it out, then that nothing is going to be very expensive. Can you share a use case where an agent delivered measurable business impact?
Yeah, I mentioned before it's about the quotations, which is talking about 3 to 4 minutes to generate one quotations. But now 30 seconds, 17 seconds. I mean, within 30 seconds, we can create a quotations instead of 4 minutes. So this is the difference. Another one is we are doing the kind of a health examinations for those who have I mean major injury. So for that kind of health examinations, in the past, it may take 40 minutes, 45 minutes, almost 1 hour to do the whole exercise. But with the AI support, now we are talking about less than 10 minutes. We can finish the whole process, and all the results can be recorded, digitalized, and record in the back end. This is more on the front end, but
Yeah,
also for document understanding. I mean, traditional way we are talking about OCR. But now we are talking about document understanding. So to read through the whole documents, application form, or whatever handwritings, try to identify all the wordings, what kind of document it is. Is a policy applications or is a claim application form or whatever. And also the details data field help to key in the data. So again, this is in the past it's talking about minutes and now it's talking about seconds.
That's
Yeah.
that's exciting. So when you say quotes, like I'm getting house insurance or car insurance, less than a minute, it's in front of me, and then I can just digitally buy it right there without even coming into the store like I do in Vancouver. I got my regular insurance broker. I go to his office or he comes out to me. But you're saying that this can all now be solved very quickly to your end customers. And
Yes. I mean, in China, we are doing the motor insurance, which even in the past, we are using WeChecks to do the whole process, but it's talking about minutes of, as I mentioned, 4 minutes or even more. But now it's just through receive your ID photos, driving license photos, then it's upload, and then exactly 17 seconds,
oh wow,
17 seconds, it will understand your all the IDs and it will generate a e-quotations and send back to you. And once you're okay, then we'll generate a QR code. So you scan the QR code, you pay the bill, of course, you have to pay.
yeah, yeah,
Then we'll generate a e-policy. Again, it's a PDF and sent to you through WhatsApp or WeChat or whatever.
awesome.
Then it's done.
That is awesome. And then from the health perspective, that was more for like health, life insurances, injuries, and stuff like that,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
now can
yeah,
get on top of that. Huge
yeah.
benefits. And I just see it now still with some of the insurance companies out here. They're still manual processed ways, and they still have to take 3 or 4 days on some of those big life insurance policies. And that, what you're saying is could dramatically drop that down to not have to wait for days to do that. So this has been unbelievable. Like I could probably talk your ear off forever, Philip. I've been really, I'm really grateful for coming, for you joining us today. One of the last questions that I wanted to, you're talking about, if there's not a trillion-dollar company, if it's a 30 to $100 million company. Typically, it's a family-owned business, a CEO that maybe even got the business handed down from his father or his family, where he took it to the next level. How would you? And I know start small, but it is a little bit more challenging because a lot of these organizations don't even have any IT people on staff. Any
Mm.
advice that you'd give the CEO that's maybe, not coming up to retirement, but knows that if they don't do something, that their younger competitors coming up could steal their customers. How would you say to a second generation CEO business owner how he should start looking at this without overwhelming? Because they're overwhelmed right there. They're nervous on how to even.
Yeah, I think I keep mentioning about the securities, the self secured AI, self-developed within premises. But if we are talking about a small company, a startup, or these kind of things, I think there's really a lot of very good tools available on the market. I'm not sure about outside China, but inside China, there's a lot of free small models available which you
Mm,
can start with.
yeah.
And of course, from an enterprise perspective, there may be a lot of security, this and that issues. But with a startup, I really encourage to use that because they are really great. The model is really great. It's really useful and helpful, and it can help the small company, small enterprise to start something, at least to make sure they understand about how to help the user, how to help their customers, give the good impression to the customers, to make their company bigger and bigger, and then they can do a more self-develop or self-internal arrangement.
So I recently read McKinsey says CEOs should lead AI governance. IBM's
Oh,
20.
yeah, yeah. Maybe that's coincident. I didn't read that,
Well,
but yeah,
IBM's
yeah, yeah.
2025 CEO study urges 5 mind shifts. And So what's one mind shift? And I think you just said it. Start small. Just start using some tools out there on your desk. I met an AI CEO the other day, and he said he takes an hour out of his schedule just to play with stuff. It's nothing to do with his business. He's just trying new tools, and then he's going back and saying, "Hey, I played with this tool." Kind of like the groups your sister Susan and I are in. On Mondays, we just play with cool tools. So I think you said start small, but what's one mindset shift that you believe every executive must make to lead in the age of AI?
Yeah, totally agree. I think the top down, the CEO level to give the confidence, and also more important is the CEO need to know what AI is. It's not saying
Yes.
that he push everyone to do it, because even for me, uh, inside my phone, I have almost one page for different kind of AI apps
Oh,
available in China. Some is
well,
for reading the picture, voice,
yeah,
doing a video, all
yeah,
these kind of things. So it's not because of technology, it's more for fun. And also you need to
totally.
understand what is happening outside. The people outside, they know more than you, then how can you help them?
Exactly. And I was saying to Chace the other day, I said, I don't want to, because Chace is our content director. He can create anything
Of
using
course.
AI and he makes magic. But I say to him, Chace, what tool can I play with for fun? I'm an avid outdoorsman. We sponsor a hockey team. I want to do little videos for when I'm fishing or when I'm out playing hockey. And so I've been asking him, what tool should I play with, right? Do you have a tool, Philip, that you'd recommend for me to just play with?
It's all in Chinese, unfortunately.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Well,
but we did
yeah,
one thing is during our AI Open Day, we record all our CXO, all our management, their
yeah,
voice,
yeah.
and then we make a presentation in a different language which they don't know for them, and then present in the AI Open Day. So they are surprised. Oh, I can speak French. I can speak Chinese. I can speak. This kind of thing. So make fun, and then they start to enjoy. They always make jokes about that now.
Yeah, Jason and I have had a couple of talks on that. But Philip, thank you for sharing your journey from strategy to orchestration. AXA's is a blueprint for an enterprise AI. The work you're doing is amazing. It looks like you're having fun because I said to myself
Yes,
7 years ago, I'm all about having fun on my later part of my tech career. And thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. We need to send you a Canucks jersey so you can see a Vancouver Canucks hockey team jersey. Thank you very much,
thanks.
Philip. Okay, Philip,
Uh,
thanks. I really appreciate it. We'll send you it as soon as it's done. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Keep
oh,
if you're ever I'm sweating here. If you're ever in Vancouver, please let us know. It's beautiful out here and I can take you around. I don't know if you golf or whatever, but please let me know if you're ever out here. You'll be my guest and I will look after you and make sure you're treated very well out here. Thank you so much,
for
Philip.
sure.